Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Available wherever podcasts can be found. And, of course, taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. What a huge weekend in wrestling that just went down. We're going to talk about Becky Lynch's return. We're going to talk about what's going on with Adam Cole and what's going on with NXT after NXT Takeover 36. We're going to run that show down as well. But first, if you're watching us on the YouTube, do us a huge favor. Give us that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. We've been getting some decent growth here at Going In Raw. Let's keep it going. And if you can hear the sound of my voice in the audio realm, hit up whatever podcast app you use to listen to Going In Raw. Leave us a rating, review, or a comment. It also helps us a lot if you do that. Like I said, Larson, huge wrestling weekend. Want to give thanks to all the friendos for hanging out with us, man.
Yes. It was a lot of fun, a lot going on. But, you know, wrestling is always better when you watch it with friends and friendos. So thank you all who joined us Friday night, Saturday night, last night for TakeOver. It was a blast. It
was a lot of fun. And, of course, we did TakeOver last night. This coming weekend, I am going to go to the beach. And,
that's right. You're taking a little trip.
Not doing anything. So that's going to be cool. And then the following weekend, of course, All Out. That should be a lot of fun as well. Yeah, man. I mentioned this on Twitter. It seemed like a moment in wrestling. I mean, obviously the return to CM Punk was a big huge deal. Yeah. Our review of Rampage, that episode of Rampage is available right now. But that combined with a lot of stuff that we saw at SummerSlam, just a lot of buzz about wrestling, both, positive and maybe a little bit of negative, depending on what you like and who you like, and what you saw. But yeah, it felt like a moment in time. And I get the feeling, man, that we're going to have a lot more of those moments coming up because specifically of AEW and how these, wrestlers who are looking for something maybe different than WWE and they're going over to the other company now. It's very exciting. It's very cool to see this go down,
Definitely. Yeah. And we'll get more news potentially in that regard here in a little bit, especially now that TakeOver is done. There might be someone who's a free agent. But before we get to that, let's talk Becky Lynch, her return to SummerSlam. So, of course, she had a pretty surprising return at SummerSlam, and opinions seem to vary on that return following a pretty darn shocking squash win over SmackDown with champion Bianca Belair. We spoke extensively about it in our SummerSlam recap. We were fairly critical of that decision, but we have some details about it. These are coming from Mike Johnson, the PW Insider. And he might be shining some light on WWE's motivation for booking that particular finish because he's reporting that, quote, that PW Insider has, quote, confirmed with multiple WWE sources that Becky Lynch is now a heel. We are told that going forward, Lynch will be positioned as the top heel on SmackDown, initially feuding with Bianca Belair. In a different report, PW Insider had some additional details about the creative plans for the match, stating that, quote, the quick Lynch victory was designed to pop the fans who were expecting Banks versus Bianca, instead gave them the return of a major name. We are told it was 100% a Vince McMahon call, and the title switch to Lynch was specifically designed to make a return even more spectacular. It should be noted that the quick nature of the match, 27 seconds, was seen by a number of fans as taking the wind out of the sails with Bianca Belair, but we are told that even though some in the company expressed that concern beforehand, the idea was that the moment was about Lynch per Vince McMahon's vision for the pay-per-view. Before we get to the second bit here from PW Insider Elite, I feel like we had a conversation to this effect on our SummerSlam recap that it was Vince wanted a moment, kind of everything else be damned. And we had speculated whether they were going to pivot Becky towards being a heel. And assuming this PW Insider report is true, it's a bit of a head scratcher because when she left, Becky Lynch was probably the top face in the entire company. And of course, when a huge superstar returns, everybody wants to cheer for him, and especially someone who's as beloved as Becky Lynch is, it is going to be a uphill climb. I said in our SummerSlam recap, WWE is going to have to do some, I honestly don't know what they're going to have to do. to get the heat necessary for fans to. It's gonna if Becky comes out and does cuts a heel promo on the fans, that ain't gonna cut it.
That ain't gonna be the thing. No,
because that's what they tried back when they tried to turn the heel after SummerSlam a few years back, which really began her push. They tried to turn her heel, and the fans were like, "No, we love Becky. Yeah, all your complaints you're 100% right." I don't know how they're going to approach this.
I think that given the reaction, it's going to be interesting to see how they approach it. I think that they might have, if the idea is to turn her heel. I recorded a video for WrestleJuice where I just sort of looked at the Twitter and YouTube reaction to Becky, and dude, across the board, like, it's number one kind of shocking that Brock Lesnar's return to WWE video clip has almost twice as many as Becky Lynch's. Becky Lynch is sitting at 1.3 million.
Interesting.
Brock's is sitting at 3.3 million, so about 2 million more. I think it's something like that. So Becky, get this though, a spot during the Goldberg Lashley match is outpacing the Becky return on YouTube. It's like at almost 2 million, and Becky's like almost 1.5 or something, or 1.3, I think, which is a head scratcher. You just scratch your head. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
And what's interesting also is that on the Becky return video, the dislikes are it's like 4,000 dislikes as opposed to and 37 likes, as opposed to on the Goldberg video, it's like, I don't know, like 1,000 dislikes,
Yeah.
And the comments are very telling, and it's all very similar stuff. And it's all this: we like Becky, but why would you do this to Bianca? And I think that might motivate them even more to be like, hey, people like Bianca so much and they were not into this. That could work. I do think that she could potentially be, and I wonder if it's this. And look, I'm not saying I'm into this, because I'm not, because here's the problem. Vince probably looked at Roman Reigns, and the first thing Nick Khan said in this interview with Ariel Helwani, which we're going to talk about later, when he's talking about how much he likes SmackDown and Raw, he thinks they're both great. But the very first thing he talked about was Roman Reigns. He said, look at what a great job we're doing with Roman Reigns, which then you might think, okay, they really like the Roman Reigns thing. Are they going to do the same thing with Becky Lynch? Because we've heard that the plan with Roman is he's going to be the bad guy and then he's going to be the good guy. And we do know that. But the huge difference is Becky was there. Becky was already where they wanted Roman to be.
Exactly.
So why would you do this?
Yeah.
Unless the idea is they know how popular Bianca is and they want to try to get her to that level that Becky was at. But if this is the first feud, Becky ain't losing that title back to Bianca unless the idea is, like, and I said this on the recap, get them in a feud where Bianca looks so good and then she's drafted out to Raw. She quantum leaps over, and that's why they put the title on Charlotte, because they're going to do Bianca versus Charlotte and make Bianca the lead face and champion on Raw.
I mean, that's possible. That's possible. The one thing I would say about, I lost my train of thought now. About capitalizing on the reaction to Becky's win in terms of building up her heel character that way. The problem with that is fans are savvier now to what is going on in terms of the creative aspect of things. So I worry it's be a situation where, okay, Becky will come out and drop a heel promo, whether it's directed towards the fans, Bianca, whoever, and they'll try their darndest. The problem is the heat won't necessarily be on Becky. It'll be on the company for shoving a storyline that people don't want to see. That's a real problem, potentially.
I don't disagree. I don't think this is going to be, I think that the path to her being a heel would be to attack Bianca, who seems just like a genuine person that people really like, and screwing her over. I think that you're right. I think it's going to be, well, we don't really want to see this, I think you're right. I think it's not going to be, oh, we're going to boo Becky because she's got real heel heat. We're not into it.
And
maybe they just won't be into it. Kind of like they weren't into Stone Cold being healed.
This whole thing's going to be it's going to have such a tepid response because, like, I'm guessing, unless they're going to blow our minds with some really clever, interesting, creative.
Yeah.
Not holding my breath, but maybe it's possible. They're going to roll the dice with this, and people are their response is going to be, oh, I don't want to see this. This isn't interesting, and then it's supposed to be bleh.
It depends, dude. Honestly, I think it sort of depends. Like, if they book it right and they have on SmackDown, like, Becky comes out, and I don't know about her dropping a promo on the fans. That ain't going to work. But if she comes out and the fans start chanting Bianca, which is a possibility, I honestly don't know how they're going to react. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
I don't know how they're going to react. But if Bianca comes running out with a head full of steam, Stone Cold style, and starts attacking Becky, I mean, people are going to pop for that because it's somebody doing cool stuff.
Yeah, at the same time, though, before that happens, they really have to make an effort to establish Becky is heel, because you run the risk then of people still thinking Becky's the face. Bianca comes out and attack her. They might think, oh, Bianca's turning heel now, and start booing Bianca.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's gonna be interesting to see what they do. I mean, we'll probably get to SmackDown this week, and there won't be any definitive direction. It'll be a lot of hemming and hawing because that's kind of what they do. But maybe they have some plan. I'm just not. I'm not optimistic that it's gonna. For the crowd, I mentioned this on the recap. For the crowd, that's like, hey, let it. Let's see how it plays out. Especially now that there does seem to be a direction with Becky Lynch, if this report is to be believed.
Yeah.
I'm not. I just don't. I don't have room for. I don't have the desire to be optimistic about this because we've seen this happen before. If this is going to be the first feud, Becky ain't losing that title back.
Nope.
And that's kind of the only way. Besides, with the exception of Bianca going to Raw and fighting Charlotte. That's kind of the only way that I see Bianca getting her.
Yeah, well, here's a possibility. This is something that crossed my mind. And not that I'm like into the idea, but it could, if they're actually trying to, a massive if, cross over various storylines. So right now, all four horsewomen are heels. Mm-hmm. Charlotte's a heel. Mm-hmm. If this is true, mm-hmm. Becky's a heel. Mm-hmm. Sasha's a heel. And Bayley, when last we saw her, was a heel.
Yeah, sure.
Now, we have Survivor Series coming up in about 3 months. I know Bayley's involvement's up in the air because she got hurt. She was about to be out 9 months, so she probably missed it.
I think she just tweeted out like the number 6. I think she's got like 6 months.
6 more months.
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So if they want to do at either Survivor Series, Mania, something, a match where it's the 4 horsewomen on one side, on the other, you get Nikki, you get Rhea, you get Bianca, and then somebody else, and they frame it as in supervillains versus superheroes. Vince finally gets his Marvel Universe type thing going.
That could be. Oh, the 6th thing. I'm sorry, I was in reference to the anniversary of Brooklyn. Oh, so never mind. Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, he loves the Marvel thing now, right?
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know. I mean, it's a wait and see thing. I love that the fan response, at least the Twitter and YouTube fan response, has been kind of on par with what we're saying. Like, hey, we really like Becky. Twinewinder here in chat said, how did anybody look at that match and not see heel turn? I mean, I saw it based on what we were given, but at the same time, it's Becky, so it's beguiling that they would do it, Yeah. But apparently they are.
Yeah, I mean, a cheap shot and one move.
The cheap shot did it for me. The cheap shot was the thing.
I feel like a cheap shot, one move win. It's not screaming heel turn, which I feel like you really have to do with Becky. Because, during her run, it wasn't like she was above taking the fight to people,
It's crazy. They could have had their cake and eat. Like, you could have had a huge Becky moment that really would have made sense. And if she comes out specifically to, like, basically call out how great Bianca is and raise her hand, maybe I don't know, you have this silly Carmella Zelina Vega, some stupid match like that. I don't know, there's a million ways you could have done it so that both people stood tall, or even she comes out, gets this huge reaction, has a face-off with Bianca, and then, they go their separate ways, and it's like, oh, it's a tease for SummerSlam where she saves Bianca or something like that. I don't know. There was like a million ways you could have written this, and it wouldn't have taken it wouldn't have taken the wind out of the sails of the pay-per-view,
exactly.
I mean, just look, I was just looking at the reaction, and it seems like a lot of people felt the way we did. It's like, yeah, no, I don't know. That was just, that was weird. It's hard to get back into the pay-per-view with that moment. And once again, it's just like, how is Vince misreading this stuff so much? And I keep on going back to that. It's like there seems to be such a disconnect between Vince's gut and what the fans are really clamoring to see. And that's why it's so stark a difference between WWE and AEW.
Yes.
Call me a shill. I don't care. But there's a difference there, man. I mean, even down to, hey, let's not screw a guy over in his hometown. Let's celebrate that they're in their hometown, find storyline reasons to get them over there. And you're going to grow your audience loyalty that way.
I know.
All right, let's take a quick break here to get a word in from our sponsor, Liquid Death. So, Larson.
Yeah.
The calendar may say that we're nearing the end of summer, but the thermometer is telling me that it's still hot.
Oh, it's hot.
But when I feel the heat coming on, I reach for this awesome-looking tall boy can of Liquid Death.
And you may ask, is there beer in this can? Because it certainly looks like this is a can of beer, but no. Inside this can is 16.9 ounces of mountain water that will brutally murder your thirst, hence the name on the can here. And not only does this can look cool, what makes it even cooler is that aluminum cans are infinitely recyclable, unlike plastic bottles, which must mostly just end up in a landfill. See, plastic bottles, they're a money loser for recycling centers, but aluminum cans actually make them some money.
Also, Liquid Death donates 10% of their profits from every can sold to help bring death upon plastic pollution. So if you want to trick people into thinking you're drinking a beer when you're actually destroying your thirst with refreshing mountain water in an ice-cold can, go to liquiddeath.com/GIR and get free shipping on all water and merch.
Or grab some at your neighborhood Whole Foods or 7-Eleven.
That's liquiddeath.com/GIR.
Before we get back to the show, let's get a word from our sponsor, Craig. Steve, I feel like I want to take up a new hobby. I want to make stuff out of wood with these hands of mine, but I honestly have no idea where to start. Where do I start?
Yeah, so you want to get into woodworking, huh?
Yeah.
I was once like you, Larson, feeling the urge to craft something with these hands of mine, but unsure if I could do so. But then I got these hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. Craig has been the innovator and leader in pocket hole joinery, setting the standard for 30-plus years. And now, if I got my Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro and a drill, I feel like I can build nearly anything from bookcases to desks to outdoor patio furniture.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Well, tell me more. Please tell me more. I want to learn more.
I'll tell you more. You see, pocket hole joinery is a way of creating fast, simple, and strong joints in a variety of wood projects. And the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro makes it easier than ever. You know me, I've never been terribly handy, and the thought of building something out of wood with these hands of mine seemed like a pipe dream. But after going to craigtool.com, that's K-R-E-G tool.com, and getting my hands on a Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro, I can build pocket hole projects anytime, anywhere.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Should be.
Question for you, though, Steve.
Yes, Larson.
Can you build me a bookcase? It would look great right there, right behind me.
Yeah.
It would look great.
No, Larson. I'm not going to build you your bookcase. You know why?
Why?
Because you can do it yourself. Now anyone, even Larson, can easily create perfect and strong pocket hole joints with the Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro. It works with a wide variety and size of material and is great for building all types of indoor and outdoor wood projects.
The Craig Pocket Hole Jig 520 Pro comes with everything you need and retails for just $99.99. It's available nationwide at Home Depot, Lowe's, and other home centers, woodworking, and hardware stores. Learn more at craigtool.com. That's K-R-E-G tool.com.
Again, that's craigtool.com, K-R-E-G tool.com.
Let's get this last bit in here from Mike Johnson. This is on PW Insider Elite. This bit here is courtesy of Wrestle Talk. This is what Mike Johnson had to say. Quote, I was told this was a Vince McMahon idea, a Vince McMahon pitch. This was not the original idea for her, Becky's return. She was going to be returning in early October, but everything that went down with Sasha Banks, with her being unable to perform at SummerSlam, led to WWE reconfiguring plans, and Vince McMahon decided, that's what I want. Becky Lynch, the biggest babyface star in quite some time. She's going to be a heel going forward. See how it plays out, I guess. I'm not optimistic, but we'll see.
I'm curious. I'm with you. I'm not optimistic, but I am curious. We'll see where this goes. Speaking of seeing where people will go, Adam Cole, clearly done with NXT, but the question is, what's next? You know, we all figured it'd be the case. PW Insider has confirmed that Adam Cole's loss to Kyle O'Reilly at TakeOver 36 was indeed Adam Cole's final appearance in WWE NXT. But what's next? Fightful Select. Go subscribe to Fightful Select. They're great.
Go subscribe.
Is reporting that as of yesterday, Adam Cole has not signed a new deal with WWE. As soon as Cole took the L at TakeOver, the Young Bucks, of course, started teasing that Cole could be on his way to AEW. I believe a seance was in order for that, given that he, in their canon, died
on
being the elite. But what's actually going to happen?
Yes.
I'll be honest with you, man. You know, the Young Bucks generally, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't have any specific instances here, but like generally when they tease stuff, they kind of go through with it, right? Like they were, you know, obviously been teasing the CM Punk stuff a lot since like that deal was sort of confirmed.
Yes.
I kind of feel like that's it. I feel like he's going to be going. Maybe when he made that announcement on Twitch saying, "Hey, the Chugs ain't going nowhere." Maybe his mind was made up at that point. You know, I feel like if he signed a new deal, we had heard so many times. There's been so many instances. I mean, you know, one of the bigger ones was when Punk signed that deal at Money in the Bank 2011. Mm-hmm. He signed it at the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And he stayed with the company. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like we would have heard had he signed a new deal. He would have done it at SummerSlam, right?
Yeah, you would think so. He would have done it. Yeah, TakeOver weekend. Yeah, for sure.
That
I don't know. You know, if that meeting with Vince had gone as swimmingly, or had gone swimmingly, and he got some measure of assurance that, you know, his creative on main roster, at least early on, was going to be to his satisfaction, and the dollar amount that was rumored was accurate. I mean, that's a pretty enticing offer. But, you know, and not to say those things didn't happen, but maybe, you know, the prospect of going back and working with his friends in AEW in an environment that's seemingly vibrant and creative, and you have some influence over your character and your creative direction. Maybe and he gets to keep his Twitch channel for sure. Maybe that's just more enticing prospect for him. Don't know.
I mean, honestly, the money is money, and we have no idea. I mean, we heard what WWE had offered him, $1 million. Who knows what the dollar amount would be in AEW? I mean, clearly he can make a ton of money there, and at a certain point, like for Moxley, he was like, "What am I going to do with all that? You know, I already have a truck. My truck's paid off. You know." Mm-hmm. And maybe the dude, you know, there's so many positives in AEW for him. In WWE, it's two things. It's money and it's WWE, you know.
It's money and the platform, yeah.
The platform. And it's you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe when people are growing up, sometimes for some people, WWE is the thing. It's like, hey, can I get there? Can I get to the very top of the biggest stage? Mm-hmm. You know, but that ain't it for everybody. You know, like we always say, everybody has different priorities. So, I mean, dude, if throwing this out there, if SiriusXM came to us and was like, "Hey, we'll give you double what you guys make right now, but you got to wake up you don't own it anymore. You got to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning." I don't think I'd do it, man.
No,
I honestly don't think I'd do it. I like the freedom we have. You know,
totally.
Double money would be nice, but.
Money's not everything, man.
It's not everything. I like my sleep, I like TPT.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I like being able to do what we want to do and not be beholden to corporate overlords telling us that we got to do this or that. You know,
I want to be in the Smash Zone, man, every Thursday. That's what I want to do.
You got that right. Well, let's talk Nick Khan. He had an interview with Ariel Helwani prior to SummerSlam.
Hold on, breaking. White Brownie has got the official. I'm assuming these are official, or he's just making this shit up in our chat. Rampage 1.1 million and a 0.53 in the demo.
That's really good.
SmackDown 2.1 million, 0.57 in the demo.
Wow.
So pretty close in the demo. SmackDown doubled up the total overall viewership, but 1.1 million on a Friday night. That's
pretty good.
About 500,000.
400,000 more than they got in the debut.
Yeah.
More than 50% increase.
Yeah.
That demo number is really good. That's really, really good.
That's a spectacular demo. That's a really good demo number. Yeah.
Anyways, Nick Khan, WWE president Nick Khan, had an interview with Ariel Helwani prior to this weekend's SummerSlam events. Wide-ranging interview. I think it's about 25 minutes long. It's a good listen, a good watch. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it. Two really notable bits were when Khan talked about why WWE has released so much talent of late, and also what can we expect from the rumored NXT rebrand going forward. Let's talk about the releases first. This is what Nick Khan had to say. He says, quote, "There's a collective of us. Keep in mind with WWE, there's one boss. That's Vince, as we all know. Between Bruce Pritchard, who oversees the entire creative process, between Kevin Dunn, who oversees all our production, between Stephanie McMahon, Paul Levesque, all are involved in these decisions, with ultimately Vince making the final decision on everything." He says, "I don't know that there's one explanation for it, the releases. I think ultimately what's looked at is this person for us. Are they going to move the needle now or in the imminent future? By the way, we had a 2-day tryout in Las Vegas, which ended yesterday. Triple H, John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard were all across, as were the rest of us. We signed over a dozen new talent coming out of that tryout, and I'm not suggesting, that's why we cut other talent, but we're always looking for what's next. We live in the present, we live in the future, we don't live in the past. So when people leave and they move on with their life and their careers, that's good by us. For us, it's what works for us and our product at that moment in time. And again, what's going to work down the road, and largely in part the existing roster is based on that." So the rationale that was given to all the people that were released is that budget cuts wasn't named once. Not to say that wasn't a part of it, because he does say there wasn't one explanation, but it seems I want a situation where it's first and foremost, does this person fit into what we want WWE to be? And if anybody's on the fence about it, then it's like, okay, what's the contract? How long are they under contract? And you start talking about, like in the Braun Strowman situation, they thought he was 2 years past his prime. I don't agree with that, but that's what they thought. And maybe it's the first metric, as he says here, is we got to see whether they fit into what we want our product to be now and in the near future. And then if there's any a hesitation about that, then they start looking for other reasons. I'm just trying to find some way that budget cuts fits into what Nick Khan has said here.
It's not. It's bullshit. It is
bullshit.
Honestly, it sounds like, dude, you can go back, and it's totally apropos, but go back and look at the, and I know this has been shared on Twitter ad nauseum.
Oh, the CM Punk bit?
The CM Punk bit, where he said, I honestly think, dude, it's kind of like the trash bag situation, It's like that was just a thing that they did because they kind of hire, they hire Funk Man instead of somebody who actually knows how to deal with human beings from an HR perspective. And so John Laurinaitis gets on the phone. "Sorry, kid, budget cuts." I mean, that's what everybody says, that happens. I mean, we have actual wrestlers saying that this is what happens. And it's just laziness. It's another example of laziness. We see it in creative with endless championship contender rematches.
Yes.
And we see it with, as opposed to, and here's the thing. I mean, would it make it any better? Would it make it easier? I don't know. Maybe half the wrestlers I don't care what they tell me. But if it's just a matter of, hey, you don't fit in with what we're trying to do here anymore. To be completely honest with you, you just don't fit in with what we're doing. Would it be nice if it wasn't such a corporate churnover thing, where they're churning people out, and it's like, Bronson Reed, you're an international guy, and now you're going to be screwed on your visa. Maybe we'll give you a little bit, maybe instead of a 90-day no compete, maybe we'll give you a 180-day to allow you to sort out your stuff. I mean, I don't know exactly what they could do to make that process easier.
I don't know either.
But as a company, if they're like, hey, this guy doesn't fit into our future because we're changing our philosophy, I get that. I understand it. It feels like, from a human perspective, there's a better way to go about it, in terms of, hey, we do have an ass ton of money. Maybe we can help these guys and girls a little bit more, and not just feed them a budget cut bullshit line and say, hey, let's try to help you out on your way out the door because you've taken a risk on us and we've taken a risk on you.
Yes. Yeah. No, I was trying to find a middle ground between what they say to people and what Nick Khan said. But I think what it is Jonathan has it here in chat correctly. Budget cuts is an out of my hands excuse so they can avoid confrontation. You know,
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
That's 1,000% what it is.
Yeah.
You know, where they say, hey, budget cuts, sorry, can't do anything about it. And as a talent, like, you know, I guess you could bring up, hey, you made record profits. How was their budget cut? But beyond that, you know, there's not much you can do as someone who's been released at, you know, thanks to budget cuts. You can't really protest that, as opposed to, hey, we had nothing for you. Well, I mean, shit, you could argue that, you know, but it's at the same point, you're getting released. What's the point of arguing? So.
It just feels like it's just like you said, it's lack of wanting to confront people, and it's just bad management is what it is. It's like, wouldn't you rather somebody, like, you know, look you straight in the eyes and say, hey, listen, man, you know, we're changing the philosophy on what we're doing here. And Vince saw what you had to offer. And unfortunately, you know, he doesn't see it. Best of luck. What can we help? What can we do? But, you know, it's WWE. They sent people's stuff, women, by the way, they sent their stuff in, like Mickey James, sent her stuff in a trash bag. And she wasn't the first person. So
that's something been going on for years. So
yeah. So
it's not good.
Yeah,
it's not good.
I mean, we've heard in the past, like, you know, wrestlers say, Vince just said they didn't have anything for us. You know, even that's like more honest than budget cuts.
I know,
but
it must be great if they were transparent with talent about why they were actually being released.
Yeah.
No?
He also talked about the NXT rebrand, and he was pretty upfront about this. You know, he's pretty. Yeah,
this is one area where Nick Khan was pretty darn transparent about.
Yeah, he said this. So these transcripts are from Fightful. He said this: "We are doing a complete revamp on NXT, led by Triple H, who is really one of the architects of the original NXT. What we found, it's part of why we did the tryout yesterday. We want to make sure it's easy for folks who want to be WWE superstars." Is figuring out how to become WWE superstars. If you think of the life of an elevated athlete, throughout their career, the opportunity to go play somewhere has always been easy. Being able to play somewhere is not. That's what's hard. If you're an amazing high school football player, colleges come after you. You get recruited. You go into their system, and either you make it or you don't make it. All that it takes to get there, very difficult, but the system, not difficult. We want our system to be an easy system where people who want to be superstars know how to get to us and we can get to them. In terms of an NXT rebrand, look for it in the next couple of weeks. It's going to have a whole new look, a whole new feel, and we believe because a lot of the indie wrestlers, if you will, have come through our system and are in our system with SmackDown and Raw, we don't want to just keep doing that same thing. We want to look elsewhere for great young talent. So that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stop looking at the indie ranks. It's they're going to expand quite a bit and maybe focus less on the indie ranks. I've said, look, if there's a dude out there who's 26 years old, 6'4", and he shows up in Ring of Honor and is killing it over there, I doubt that he expressed interest to go to WWE. If he's everything they're looking for, I don't think they would hold being in Ring of Honor against him necessarily. You know, I mean, they currently have, you know, the most recent, and who knows if they're going to continue to be there. But you look at a guy like Josh Briggs, who's the last Evolve champion. Well, this guy has plenty of independent experience. He's a big dude. He seems maybe what they'd want, what they'd look for. They still have a world-class performance center. They got Shawn Michaels and Triple H there. They've got Matt Bloom there, who by all accounts is a terrific coach. If they keep on doing sort of the guest coach thing, this is really honestly in my opinion, if you look at that terrific class from '02, Cena, Batista, Orton, Lesnar, those guys weren't indie darlings before they showed up. I think there's going to be no problem creating 5-star match guys because they've done that without bringing in from the independent ranks. I think that they can do that. You know, I don't think there's going to be much of a problem in terms of what we're going to see with the wrestling. It's just going to take some time to completely overhaul their, philosophical approach to wrestlers.
Definitely. Yeah, I imagine, we'd speculate as far as NXT taping some shows in advance that they're doing so to kind of give them some time to revamp the look of NXT. I don't know if this just be a new look, complete rebrand, how far this revamping is going to go. But yeah, that's going to be more immediate. But in terms of transitioning from NXT as we do it from as far as the in-ring product to whatever they want it to be, that's going to take time because a lot of the people they just signed are pretty green when it comes to professional wrestling.
Yeah. So, I think we're definitely going to see, and they've already. I have no idea how far along Parker Boudreaux is or Rick Steiner's kid. Yeah, Bronson Steiner. Yeah. I have no idea. We saw Malcolm Bivens present business cards to their names.
You knew their name.
It was Brutus and Julius Creed. I think their kayfabe names were going to be. Yeah. I forget the name of their actual brothers. I forget the starts with the P or something. The Caper or something like that. Casper. There you go. Thank you. Given that they have had some sort of seed of a story planted on NXT TV, maybe they're coming along quicker. The next 6 months to a year are going to be maybe as interesting with NXT as the last 12 months has been for AEW. It'll be interesting to see where they take it. I'm always in favor of. I always like new design. Raw and SmackDown undergo more superficial changes in terms of their presentation on a semi-regular basis. AEW, I'm looking for NXT. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do from a production standpoint. That's going to be much different from what they do now.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of presentation, other than like just doing some superficial changes, new graphics, new logo, more or less light, less chain link fence on the barricades.
Brighten it up a little. I'm fine to add a bunch of color to the presentation.
Yeah. But like in terms of how the show is actually shot, I mean, WWE has a pretty stable template of how they produce their shows, and NXT, apart from the crash zooming, really doesn't differentiate itself.
Yeah, you brought that up. That was a solid point last night you brought up during the takeover stream, is that it's not like they really, I wonder, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they could do any number of things. I can't stand the CWC. I really can't stand that place.
Well, that's one thing to stand.
No, I know, but like, it's a huge, like, having been there, it's a much bigger venue. That's one of my biggest regrets. It honestly hurts me that we didn't just say, fuck it. We can, we don't need this week of programming. Just let's both go. It's a big venue. It wouldn't shock me. I mean, they could expand what we see in the CWC right now. They could expand it quite a bit. I mean, I don't know what they'd have to get rid of in terms of the extra rings, but it's a pretty big venue.
I don't know if there are, in terms of the zoning of the building, capacity limits to it. That would necessitate a smaller, more intimate crowd. Also, with COVID concerns, I don't know if they're like, all right, we don't want too many people here. It is still a training facility.
Mm-hmm, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
for NXT WWE. That's two potential reasons I can think why they didn't want to expand it too much.
That could be.
And also, I mean, like we've also heard too that like, there's not like parking or anything there,
Yeah.
If you expand to 500-600 people, like how are you going to transport people to and from? So.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't heard that they're going to move it out of the CWC, but we also haven't heard necessarily that, I mean, I don't know.
Well, we heard that the deal with Full Sail is done.
That's dead. Yeah, that's done. But I don't know. I guess it's just going to be interesting to see what they do, how different it's going to look. I love, dude, just hit random on the create a show thing and just, We'll see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's the way to do things.
Yeah.
You want to talk TakeOver now?
Yeah, let's talk TakeOver. I didn't go back and rewatch and take any notes. I just have my general. Look, man, I do want to go back and watch Ilya versus Walter too, because holy crap, that's my early top contender for match of the year. That was just an absolutely beautiful story, tapping out Walter like that. Thought that was great. But yeah, no, I thought it was a fun show. It's obviously going to be. I mean, if the rebrand is happening in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be the last takeover of the current iteration of NXT. What we've seen for the past 5 years or so. Yeah,
that seems to be the case. Yeah. Yeah.
But
overall, a good show. A good show. The undisputed finale wasn't quite as climactic as I was kind of expecting. But then again, if Adam Cole's on his way out, who knows if that had played any part in how they decided to pace the match. The story they were trying to tell in the match. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, let me ask you this. Like, if he was... I mean, clearly, he's not staying with NXT. We know that. We've known that. Probably not staying with the company. If he was staying with the... Certainly, if he was staying with NXT, this would have been the main event because it sort of supersedes title. Yeah. It would have been the main event.
It would have given an hour instead of like 25 minutes.
It would have been double the length.
Yeah.
It feels like, knowing what we sort of kind of know, I guess, it feels like Adam Cole's like, look, 3 stages of hell, right? Not gonna kill myself. I'm not gonna be crashing. I'm not gonna take any. I know it's a different wrestler. I'm not gonna take any air raid crashes. Off the top of a cage. That's out of the equation.
He's going to do what he can to avoid injury so he can actually go sign his next contract. Yes.
Exactly. So we had surprise roll up, right?
Yes.
He's not the one who took that spot on the chairs. That was Kyle O'Reilly. And then that finale, I'm going to handcuff Kyle O'Reilly to the top rope, super kick him a bunch of times, and then he just tapped me out. He could tap me out. Yeah. And then Kyle O'Reilly even on Twitter said, I know a lot of people aren't happy with that finish.
I know. I saw that. He said, my back hurts.
I've been training a lot.
Yeah, I know. Like, I don't really... Like, the story leading up to that match was about Kyle O'Reilly finding that killer instinct, or thinking he had to find that killer instinct to beat Adam Cole. And that really didn't play into the match, I didn't feel like,
No, because this is Adam Cole's last match in the company, probably. You're right. It was an underwhelming match. How much do you actually know? Wait, is it on Wikipedia like how long the match was?
It was 25 minutes and 20 seconds.
3 matches all in one was 25 minutes. Yeah,
that first fall was quick.
It was like an anti-NXT match.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it was.
It was like the opposite of Adam Cole, Gargano best at 2 out of 3 falls.
This was like,
Gargano was getting run over by a bus. And was kicking out, and then Adam Cole, who really hadn't had his leg worked over the whole match, just immediately taps out to a heel hook.
It was like a protest match. Like it was just like, what is this? It's really, I mean, it's not bizarre given that Adam Cole, he's got to be done. Yeah, who said that? And Forrester said senioritis. Exactly. Yeah. It wasn't a bad match. It's just when you line it up in the pantheon of like the kind of matches that you would totally expect from Cole and O'Reilly, this was not that.
No.
Pretty funny. And then, of course, Samoa Joe, not shocking at all, took the NXT championship away from Karrion Kross. Of course, at this point, we've seen Karrion Kross job out on Raw a couple times now, to Keith Lee, to Jeff Hardy. So this really wasn't all that shocking either.
No, it would have been shocking if Karrion Kross had retained successfully.
Yeah, that would have been shocking. Yeah, totally.
That would have been pretty darn shocking.
That would have been pretty shocking.
I guess we can go through match by match. There's a kickoff show match, Trey Baxter versus Ridge Holland. This went about as well as you'd expect for Trey Baxter. He got dominated and defeated by Ridge Holland after Ridge Holland hits his finisher. Ridge has a promo afterwards, says this is what happened. People think they have the bollocks. Step up to them.
Yeah.
He hopes Tim Thatcher is paying attention because this is what your future looks like, Tim.
And then with his manager Pete Dunne next to him.
Yeah,
he's gone.
One of the best wrestlers in the world. I know.
He's gone.
I know. The main show kicked off with Cameron Grimes challenging LA Knight. Sorry, LA Knight.
Oh, wow.
For that $1 million championship. Of course, if LA Knight were to get that win, Ted DiBiase would then become LA Knight's butler. With that stipulation in place, he knew there was no chance in hell that Cameron Grimes was losing. In fact, he did win. And he won with a really damn good-looking cave-in. I like that he hit it, and then he just stood there for a moment.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was a really solid cave-in. He had some $1 million. He kept on trying to use the $1 million dream during the match as well. DiBiase got that in on LA Knight there towards the finish as well, which was some great comeuppance for him.
That was pretty great.
But yeah, solid match between these two. I have no idea what happens to either of these guys now. I mean, you'd think Cameron Grimes would be somebody that Vince McMahon would love to have on main roster. And for that matter, maybe LA Knight as well. Possibly. I don't know.
It's kind of hard watching this takeover, more so than most, without viewing it through the prism of, all right, who on this card is getting called up in October, during the draft. And especially for this next match, and partially because Dakota Kai had a match on main event. Not to say that if you have a match on main event, you're for sure getting called up. But it's curious that not only that she lost the match, but it seems to be the end of the story, because as soon as she took that loss, it was a top rope. It was Raquel's finish from the top. It was impressive. This was a solid match, and Dakota Kai had a good showing.
Yeah.
But as soon as the match ends, Dakota Kai pretty much teleports out, and Kaylee Ray comes out to have a stare down with Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Which is pretty surprising, because it seemed like there was a lot more they could have done with this feud.
I was saying for months, isn't this going to be like the next Ciampa Gargano? And I will guarantee you, I'll put all my channel points on. Well, there's no way to know if this is true or not. But this was originally meant to be like a multi-month story, and then all this rebranding stuff is happening, and I don't know what to know, and I don't know what to think anymore. I don't. I mean, I don't know. The next couple months are going to be interesting and potentially very heartbreaking, because, I mean, if you look at the NXT roster, I don't know where some of these pieces fit.
Yeah.
And like some names that would be probably pretty shocking. I don't know what's going to happen. And yeah,
Yeah, I know. You see, we've talked about it before. There's a lot of names in kind of the main event, upper mid card area of NXT that if the directive is, hey, we want to get younger and larger. Yeah. What are they going to do? Johnny Gargano is one of the best wrestlers in the whole world.
It would not
he's
shock
probably
me,
the wrong side of 30, and he's what, 5'9", 5'10"?
I would. This is pure speculation on my part, but I feel like the cruiserweight title is going to be the bone that we're thrown for, if you have the most stacked cruiserweight division. So O'Reilly, Kushida, Gargano, Roderick Strong, maybe Ciampa. There's a lot of room you can do there. Thatcher's a tall dude. He should be on main roster. I think Thatcher could get over pretty big on main roster unless they try to turn him into a comedy act. But
24/7 division for sure.
But maybe there's some salvation for some of the NXT originals with the cruiserweight title, and they can just make that the biggest thing. But then I don't know if all those contracts come up at some point. They're gonna be like, yeah, damn that.
Yeah, I know. If they're like, oh, we're just going to be in this cruiserweight division for the remainder of our WWE career,
right?
Especially like Gargano, who's like won everything else in NXT.
You would think Gargano. Look, unless Vince McMahon wants another Daniel Bryan, because Gargano could totally be that.
Oh yeah,
he'd probably just, hey, I'm going to AEW, because then I can work everywhere. I don't know. Then we had Ilya Dragunov versus Walter for the NXT UK Championship. Violent, hard-hitting. Did I mention violent, Matt? So violent. And even before the turning point of this match, which of course was the chop we're just waiting for that chop to the back of Ilya for that switch to turn. By the way, if you guys enjoyed that match, we do a live watch-along of NXT UK every Thursday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, on our Twitch. So come by, check that out. Go follow us on Twitch. It's a good time, and it was just so satisfying to watch Ilya's journey play out, all those months on UK, and then have it go down at TakeOver. I really do hope they do a third match in front of that wonderful UK crowd once they have crowds again.
Yeah.
But dang it, man. I said, I know there was a lot of tearful reactions to CM Punk's return. I generally don't get teary-eyed. For a match like this with that level of emotion by the end, when Ilya sort of snaps out of it, looks at the ref and says, "Did I win?" And she's like, "Yeah, he tapped out. Here's the title." And he just breaks down. Oh, man. But his collarbones, shoulders were just completely annihilated from chops, and he made Walter tap out.
Yeah, I did not see Walter tapping out.
Same.
But I mean, you look at the chops and forearms that he was delivering to Walter, his chest and his neck, his back.
Yeah.
After being that sleeper forever, it made sense.
Oh, man.
And all the more of an effective win having him tap out Walter. And Ilya, his character is just so different and interesting,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I said this before, whenever he delivers a promo, it's part of it is his method of English speaking, his accent, the way he utilizes the English language. It's almost poetic, and at the same time, nothing about him doesn't feel genuine. He feels like the most genuine person and an emotional person, He's a fascinating character. I totally get Ilya at this point, and he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah. He's come a long way since because when he first debuted in NXT UK, it was just all about the pageantry,
the theatrics
of his entrance, the theatrics of it, and you didn't really get a sense of who he was. And he's kept some of the theatrics, from the entrance and stuff. But he got rid of the contacts. They changed his Tron, so it doesn't focus so much on the theatrics. They've really kind of grounded him in a way that's very relatable.
Yeah,
but still really interesting.
And even the build has been so simple and effective with the promos. There was that cheesy press conference thing, but I thought Ilya's performance, and of course Walter doesn't have to do much with Walter because he's just big mountain of a person. But like Ilya's performance, the emotional journey he's been on, God dang.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah. Really good stuff.
Yeah. And the one of the things about Walter, I mean, the brilliance of Walter has many facets to it, but like he could take a beating and then on a dime, you think, okay, no chance he's losing this match,
Yeah, right. Yeah. And
that happened several times. The twists and turns, the ups and downs of this bout were just something else. Yeah. It was solid. It was really good. It was really good.
It was really, really great stuff. Hopefully, I haven't really checked the COVID situation over there, but I really want those fans to come back and
get to see one of their matches live and in person.
I think it'd be terrific. It'd be a killer crowd whenever that happens.
Then we got a Cameron Grimes interview. He talks about I think he said his dad is looking down and smiling on him not just because he's champ, but because he's $1 million champ. DiBiase says, "Yeah, I always saw the fight in you. You're not a quitter, and that's why you're the champion. You were the one to carry on the legacy of $1 million title." And Grimes says, "On Tuesday night, there's going to be $1 million celebration."
There you go. After that, we had Regal walking into Joe's locker room as Joe was preparing, and he says, "Joe, I'm grateful you came back. Happy you're doing what you're doing, superstar. But as GM of NXT, I have to stay unbiased. But Joe, kick his ass." He said, "Okay, Regal."
Then we had the undisputed finale. Kind of went through our thoughts on that. First of all, just saw Kyle O'Reilly block a Panama Sunrise and just kind of sat down for a roll up on Cole. He's up 1-0. Second fall, the street fight. Cole is really working over Kyle O'Reilly's ribs and back. He even put Kyle O'Reilly in lockjaw.
He did. That was nice. What a lovely
That was pretty cool. And then he transitioned to kind of like a deal. He did the deal almost.
He did the
with
deal.
A kendo stick.
Yeah.
Later, he hit a rocket launcher off the top rope, sends Kyle O'Reilly in the back of two chairs that are set up, and he follows that with the last shot to win fall 2. And as the trainers come in to check on Kyle O'Reilly while the cage is lowering, Adam Cole pulls Kyle out of the cage and power bombs him onto the announce table, puts him back in. Finish of the third fall, the steel cage saw Adam Cole get some handcuffs. He handcuffs Kyle O'Reilly to top rope, hits a bunch of super kicks, Kyle catches the last one, just puts down Cole in the heel hook, and Cole taps out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pretty abruptly.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, all right, I'm leaving, guys.
It's like, all right, yeah, this is fine.
I got a Twitch stream to hit up. The Chugs lives on. This was great. After that, we had Ilya just sitting there backstage with his in a dressing room with his title. As you got a quick interview where he says, "The ring general has fallen. Long live the Tsar." Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm. It was good.
After that, we had a Legado del Fantasma promo. Santos says, "There's a saying in Mexico. I offered Swerve a classy exit to their situation, but he didn't want it, so they're going to have a match this Tuesday."
Yes. Then we had our main event, Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross. Fun enough match. I would get a little anxious every time Joe would eat a suplex, especially a Saito suplex, given that he just came back from concussion issues. But he seemed to be all right in the end. Kross gets up on the top rope. I don't know what he's going to do off the top rope. Joe hits him with an enziguri. And then we got to see a muscle buster.
We got the muscle buster. It's back. That was very exciting. That was very exciting.
Great. That was great. It was a fun match, some good back and forth. So
yeah, everybody taunting Kross with Hardy chants and
I know
the no that stuff. Yeah.
When he was making his way out of CWC last night. Yep. Raw preview.
Raw.
We'll do this. We'll answer a couple questions. So RK Bro set to celebrate their Raw Tag Team Championship victory.
Bro. John Morrison welcomes Logan Paul to Moist TV.
Yeah. And then Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH square off against Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
It's gonna be a Raw. Raw is gonna happen.
It's definitely gonna be a Raw.
Raw will air tonight.
Yes, Raw will air.
Let's go ahead and answer some questions.
Let's do that. B-Man, Rick Sparks says, what episodes of the second half of Dark Side of the Ring are you looking forward to the most? It's FMW and it's Plane Ride from Hell. Those are the two I'm looking forward to the most.
I am looking forward to FMW and XPW. I'm very much looking forward to those. Yeah, I'm curious to see who they're getting, what interviews they're getting for XPW. Mm-hmm. I mean, besides Supreme, like I know Messiah is still around. Rob Black still has like a show, I think, of some sort.
Is Vic Grimes still around?
I don't remember if he's still around or not. I mean, I know they interviewed New Jack before he passed for this. So,
okay, yeah.
He's still around?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's I'm really looking forward to that. Just because like we were around for so much of that stuff.
That's true.
Let's see here. Want to answer some? Oh, sorry, we're already answering questions. Juan Guerrero Jr. Since the Forbidden Door is an option for him now, fantasy book CM Punk at next year's Triple Mania.
Wow.
Well, there's a hammer involved. Number one, he
should be Blue Demon Jr. Then
he plays. It's double duty. Number one, he's in the Marvel Universe match.
He's the Thing because it's clobbering time.
As the Thing. He's got to be the Thing. Yeah. Or he's Wolverine. At one point, he had the sideburn chops like Wolverine.
He did.
How about this? It's CM Punk as Wolverine versus Brian Cage as Thanos because Brian Cage wants to be Wolverine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. That's good. Rob Zerver, who are your current favorite talents in independent wrestling?
Oh, man. Ninja Mac. Ninja Mac's my dude. In GCW, he's great. I love him. I'm trying to think of other. There's so many like names out there. It's kind of hard to like narrow it down, you know?
Cal Jack.
Yeah, perfect.
Simon Miller,
Hates Champion, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see here. Adam Anderson says, it seemed like CM Punk slighted Sting during his promo about coming in to help talent like Darby Allin. Does this promo set a stage for a CM Punk Sting program after All Out? Is that something you'd want to see, or would you prefer they mix it up with younger talent? I say mix it all up. Yeah, who wouldn't want to see CM Punk versus Sting? That'd be great. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be good. I didn't take that as a slight, but I guess I could see that. White Brownie, with Charlotte being Raw Women's Champion again, who's the favorite now to win the first Queen of the Ring?
Get like a dark horse candidate like Liv Morgan. Where has she even been?
I know. All that momentum she established for herself.
Right?
Go on to Money in the Bank. It has been on TV since. Isn't that just typical WWE?
It's just been creatively lazy. Like, oh, they're saving the good shit. He just meant Brock and Becky, didn't he? He just meant Brock and Becky. That's all he meant.
And then link up to Mania of the Rock.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's all going to be the same.
Yeah, it's all the same.
It's all the same. Nikyle with a great question. Power rank absolute worst to least worst WWE tropes. Roll-up victories. Talk show segments. Wild card rule. No wrestling during commercials. Championship contender matches. Endless rematches.
All right.
Absolute worst.
Okay. So I'd like to combine. Okay, my number one, my absolute worst is rematches.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the same. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. I don't want to see that. So get rid of that. I don't mind in sort of concept the championship contender match, but they do them endlessly. Like I lost my mind over the Tegan Knox and Shotzi Blackheart championship because they did like 3 rematches of that.
Yeah. Like just a month prior, they had a championship contender match. They won.
So my number one is rematches. Then I would go talk show segments, the second worst. I'm sorry. Rematches one. No wrestling during commercials. That was just weird. It threw the entire show off. It was bizarre. All of a sudden you get 2 out of 3 falls matches all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That was weird, and it was just one of those things where you just have to wait for the phase to be done with.
Yeah.
So rematches, no wrestling during commercials, talk show segments, roll-up victories. Wild card rule, I don't really care about. You're just bringing people over from a different brand. Like if it's done right, like Baron Corbin, it was fine. And then championship contender matches.
Probably my number one least favorite is when you have a one-on-one match as interference, and after a commercial break, you get the tag match.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because it's transparent. You know exactly where it's going as soon as someone comes out and attack.
Great answer.
I can't stand that.
Great answer.
Because it's just filler. The initial match was just
Why
filler.
are you doing the match?
Yes. Just do if you want to get to the tag match, then just get to the damn tag match.
It's laziness, man.
It is. It's just like, hey, we need to fill 5 minutes. Let's do this and then that. I can't stand that. That would be one for me. I know it's not on the list, but I'm putting it number one. I can't stand it. That drives me up the wall.
It's good.
2, I'm going to say talk show segments because I feel like the bad ones really pull the good ones down.
They're really bad.
And because by and large, the talk show segments go on way too long. And if you want to kill momentum for a show, you put a talk show segment like the start of hour 2 on Raw. And you're just, especially if it's Miz TV, and you're just ending all momentum Raw may have.
Oh, man, it kills you.
Nothing is an energy vampire to a wrestling show quite like a talk show segment.
Agreed.
For the most part.
Agreed.
Then 3, I'll say no wrestling during commercials because, yes, it changed the entire flow of how WWE programs their show.
So weird.
And it was weird. And then I'll say rematches, then championship contender matches, wild card rule, and then roll-up victories. Because I think roll-up victories, when done well, enhance the story.
Yeah.
Like you could really... A well-done roll-up victory can really advance the story you're trying to tell.
Yeah.
You don't do it that often, but it can. Anthony Tobias, what if Adam Cole signs with Ring of Honor instead, reforms the kingdom, and is the key to the forbidden door? He needs back up to take on the Bucks for what they did to him on being the elite.
I would not really
be. Oh, he needs backup. Gotcha. From the kingdom.
Yeah. I wouldn't really be a fan of that, to be honest with you. I think Ring of Honor is doing a decent job, like sort of reloading, but like they're not at the point where I think a big name like Adam Cole would make sense there.
Yeah, I saw that clip from that one match of that bit with Jonathan Gresham doing that kind of like roll through stunner or cutter. That was amazing.
Oh, I haven't seen that. That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a little clip from a match show they had this weekend. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Admiral Snack Bar with Rampage getting a 1.1. Is CM Punk actually not as big of a rating draw as we all thought he was?
I don't know, man. Increasing like he beat like, okay, here's the thing. one person, one singular person is not going to. It's the idea, the perception that like you can flock an entire million people from one program to another is unrealistic in your thoughts on how viewers operate. Like, it doesn't really work that way. The fact that he was able to increase he was able to bring 400,000 people to the product with his return and get that huge demo number.
The demo is impressive.
That's pretty impressive. That's a
demo number is super impressive.
I mean, you got to think if he came to WWE and had the same impact, 400,000 people adding that to whatever SmackDown,
Yeah, you got the 2.5 million. That's a pretty good number.
Pretty big deal,
Yeah.
I mean, dude, anecdotal again. I'd like to know what the +3 and +7s to the DVR stuff was.
I know.
Because just anecdote, like that was everywhere. People were talking about that all over the place.
I'm curious too how word of mouth, the mainstream coverage of Punk showing up, how that's going to affect Dynamite's numbers on Wednesday too.
I agree, and he's going to be there. So
because we know, people who pay attention to wrestling news outlets and stuff. We all knew Punk was going to be there, but people who might not be as tuned in to that kind of stuff, did they know? Who knows?
Yeah, right. Ford Age says, do you think O'Reilly should move to the North American title scene after Cole leaves NXT instead of staying in the main title scene? Yeah, well, he's a good guy, and Joe's a good guy for the most part. So yeah, I think North America. I think O'Reilly versus Hit Row would be that'd be a good feud. It'd be a good match. Swerve and O'Reilly.
Matty G, with possibilities of Bray, Danielson, Buddy Matthews debuting soon, how would you set up an Adam Cole debut? It's one of those instances where Adam Cole versus Cody makes sense. It does.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know when Cody's coming back, and he still has Malachi Black, but I mean, dude, if he literally is out of his contract right now,
he should just show up on Dynamite and backstage during a super elite thing, open the door, go, hey, dudes.
Hey, guys, what's up?
Hey, guys, what's up?
What did he used to say? Didn't he have to, he used to have his, catchphrase, when he would just walk into a room on Being the Elite? Didn't he used to say, the same thing? Hey, guys. Something like that. It was something fairly innocuous.
Yeah. He should just do that.
There you go.
Anthony Matthews, despite what Nick Khan said this weekend, I believe WWE will sell if the right offer comes along within a couple of years as AEW grows. Is it out of the realm of possibility that AEW and the billionaire Khan family buys WWE? I personally would love it.
No. This is going to take. It's going to be a conglomerate. It's going to be NBC Universal, or it's going to be Disney, or it's going to be, what's the other one? Time Warner.
Time Warner or NBC Universal.
Now, how crazy would it be?
Oh, you mentioned that already. Fox.
How crazy would it be if it was Time Warner, and then you get the Amalgam Universe?
Yeah. So Forbidden Door be blown open.
So, what do they do in that situation? If it's Time Warner, it just lands on their programming, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't be Time Warner's we already have AEW.
Sean Lathrop says, what should Daniel Bryan come out to in AEW? Final Countdown or Flight of the Valkyries? Flight is public domain and may get the pop.
Oh,
it's Final Countdown.
It's the Final Countdown. There's no better song in history, perhaps, than the Final Countdown.
NJWP, given what's happened and what's could happen, power rank, which are the weekly wrestling shows you're most buzzed for?
The weekly wrestling show. Hey, at this point, it's AEW.
Dynamite's one. Dynamite's one.
It might be Rampage at this point.
Well, it's probably Dynamite and Rampage 1 and 2 right now. Yeah.
Yeah, Rampage is only an hour long, and we watch it all together. And I don't take notes. It's Rampage. Here for me. It's this. It's Rampage, it's NXT UK, then it's Dynamite, because these two are only an hour long and I don't take notes.
Well, here's the thing. It's not what you enjoy watching more, is what are you most buzzed for? Because you think something cool may happen or whatever.
Oh, dude, if CM Punk makes his Dynamite debut, or he's going to make his Dynamite debut, and he's busy cutting a promo on Darby Allin, and then out of nowhere he gets hit with the last shot. Oh my God, are you kidding me? The match is endless. It's like we book Raw, you know? It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Clearly.
Dynamite, Rampage. At one point, I probably would have put Impact in the top 5, but now I don't even watch it. Dynamite, Rampage. I'd probably say SmackDown then because of Roman.
Mm-hmm.
Roman does good stuff. I get excited to see Roman.
Yeah.
And then kind of everything else after that.
Yeah. I'll say this. For me, it's...
But Raw would be last.
It's, Raw's last. It's Rampage, Dynamite... No, it's Rampage, UK, Dynamite. Nah, Punk's there. Rampage, Dynamite. It's AEW stuff. And then I'll be honest, it's NXT. I'm fascinated with what they're going to do to NXT. You know? Because I'm not married to what they've been doing lately. And it's like, I'm really kind of fascinated at this point. It might lead to some really unexpected twists and turns, and it's like if Triple H is still at the helm, it could be interesting. Some just different stuff, you know.
It could. Wolverine asked, "Why didn't we get an explanation on John Cena after his match with Bray Wyatt on how he reappeared? He just made some passing reference to it, and I guess that was supposed to be enough for us."
Hasn't he actually confirmed at this point? I saw it on something. Oh, cool. Look at this. This is Love Again says, not a question, but we love you. Thank you for playing us on Going In Raw Radio.
Oh, very cool.
Check out at Love Again Music on Twitter and on Spotify. We've got the playlist that we play during our pre-show, or during our waiting room on our pre-show. And Love Again is on there. And you can check out, it's on it's on Spotify. Just type in Going In Raw Radio. And the playlist there, it's just the Prime playlist. I put everything on that one. There's a volume 2, but they're all in volume 1 as well.
There you go. Anthony J asked, what's next for Walter? Should he face off with Joe after Joe goes through Dunn, providing Dunn re-signs?
Walter seemed open to working NXT Prime, but who knows with the relaunch and rebrand stuff if he's going to be a guy that factors into that. So I honestly don't know. I do not know.
Frank says, if they truly push Becky as a heel, is that up there as one of the dumbest booking decisions of all time, like Austin at Mania 17, turning your most organically over star heel after being away for becoming a mother, and that fans have been constantly chanting for, seems ridiculous.
Okay, so one thing I thought about, and I forgot to mention this during us talking about it, but we'll end on this note. Remember how when Becky first left to be a mom, you were like, maybe she won't even come back. You never know. She's going to be a mother, right?
Well, yeah, I thought, it's a possibility.
And I said, no way. She's a career wrestler, right? Mm-hmm. What if it's somewhere in the middle? What if she's like, hey, I'm not going to be there all the time. I don't want the full-time schedule. You guys are going back out on the road. I don't want that anymore. So you have me for... whatever the maybe Orton, like a Daniel Bryan, Orton, Lesnar plus, like a Lesnar plus
or a situation.
schedule.
Well, I'll do 3 months and then I'll take some time off and do something like that. Yeah.
And what if the most effective way of doing that is if she's a bad guy? It probably isn't, but what if it is? I don't know. Maybe there's some thought to that. Maybe she's not going to be there all the time. So it's, hey, let's try to get Bianca over as a top face who's there all the time.
Yeah.
Could be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know. Well, it'll play out. Either it'll be really bad. It's funny though. It is funny. I remember feeling so deflated at the end of 17 is the exact same feeling I had at that Bianca Belair Becky Lynch match. The exact same way. I was like, oh man. Don't like that. No, sir. Don't like it.
Don't like it.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. We will be back tomorrow at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern for our recap of Monday Night Raw. We're going to speed run that Logan Paul segment, man. I have zero desire.
See if we can get it down to like a sentence.
That's good. You do a sentence and I do a sentence, and we'll see
Let's see if we get what's going to be a 15 to 20 minute segment down to a minute, or down to one sentence.
Down to one sentence. You do your sentence, I do my sentence, and we let the friendos decide who had the most effective sentence.
Okay. The most efficient use of language to describe a 20-minute segment.
Correct. Anyways, that should be fun because we'll probably talk a lot of shit. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.